Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
So Nebraska Athletic Director Trev Alberts released a statement on Monday stating that Scott Frost has agreed to a restructured contract, so he'll be back next year. He said, while the wins have not been there, he has seen incremental progress with the team, and that's the reason for keeping him. They instead opted to fire 4 offensive coaches from the staff. So my only question for you guys is this the right move? What do you think, Ryan?
I'm going to say no. Okay. I just believe in the results are the results. Okay, we're a little bit more competitive, but we're heading towards possibly a 3-9 type.
By the way,
season.
We're Nebraska fans for the viewers.
Yeah, we're Nebraska
full
fans.
disclosure.
Yeah, heading towards a 3-9 type of season, which would mean we were 1-8 in the conference. I mean, in year 4, I don't care what the we look better, whatever this was. I don't care what the advanced metrics are telling you. If you go 3-9 and 4 straight losing seasons, I just, if it was anybody other than Scott Frost, meaning like since he was a quarterback at Nebraska national championship, there's 100% that person would be gone. I mean, Mike Riley didn't get much time. There's no way if it wasn't Scott Frost, he would have been gone. He's 15-27 in his career here. I'm seeing a hard time with it because it's also going to hurt recruiting. I mean, he's kind of like in limbo. The recruiting class this year is terrible, and I don't think the recruits next year are going to want to come when, it's kind of like prove it or you're done type mode. So it could be 2 bad recruiting classes in a row. It's just, it's kind of like your situation at USC where with Clay Helton's like, just rip the Band-Aid off soon, and then you can move on. And because there's talent there now. The next coach that could come in could actually have a solid year next year.
Okay, well, I'm the opposite side. I personally thought it was the right move to keep Frost. It's one of those things that we don't see nowadays. And patience, I appreciate the patience. Everyone just has a quick trigger. Remember when Frost was hired, and I've brought this up previously, he didn't go for the quick fix, apply a Band-Aid, bring in just transfers and JUCOs. He tore it down and tried to build it back up. Yes, obviously the wins have not been there. Everyone knows that, including himself. But he needs the time and the runway to elevate it. And every knowledgeable football fan can clearly see that this Nebraska team is a lot better than their record is, and they've made progress. Like, look at SP+, they're a top 25 team. Every coach they've fired after a few years, they've got that's put them in this spot. You look at Solich, Callahan, Pelini, Riley. All those coaches, they quickly fired them. What ended up coming of that? Nothing. And the other thing that all 4 of those coaches had in common, they were getting absolutely destroyed against those good teams. Whereas that didn't happen this year in Nebraska. They've lost every game by 9 or less against an insane schedule. So one question I have for you, Ryan, is like, if Nebraska played a much softer schedule that didn't include games against top 10 Oklahoma, they could have won these games. Top 10 Oklahoma, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and then upcoming Wisconsin, Iowa. Say it was just like a middle-of-the-road schedule. They go at least 6-6 or better. I don't even think it's a debate if he's coming back. So I like that the AD, Trev Alberts, is looking at the context and not just the record.
Yeah. Go ahead. You have a rebuttal, Ryan?
No, I just think I could forgive one bad year. If this was kind of an outlier, and like what you're saying, if just because of the insane schedule, I could forgive that. But when you see 4 straight years now of the same old stuff, the same old mistakes, special teams being terrible turnovers, just costly things that have, it's not a talent thing. This has been a coaching, just mental block thing that whatever there is, they're not getting it through. Same thing. That's just hard to get over. We're more competitive, but
that's fair.
We're still losing games the same reason.
Yeah, I think I side a little bit more with Trey, definitely. I think it definitely is a coaching thing that, at least partially, that we've lost so many of these close games, Nebraska, but I just don't believe that it is, 100% coaching. I think there is a lot of bad luck involved there, too. You don't play that many close games and just not somehow win a little bit more of them. So I think there's hope. Just the fact, again, that the team has gotten better in the metrics each of the last few years. So the fact that we're playing close with those top 10 teams, I do think it's worth giving Frost one more year. We've said from the beginning, we're going to give Frost a long runway here. Maybe more than we would give someone else. I'll give you that, Ryan. If his name wasn't Scott Frost, if he wasn't a former Nebraska quarterback. Maybe, and if he didn't come in with such big expectations, maybe he would be fired by now. But I just think that in some ways I'm willing to this year throw the record out a little bit, because I just know the team is way better than 3-9 or 4-8 or whatever we're going to end up at. And I think that the other thing is just the money. Like right now, it would cost Nebraska $20 million to get rid of Frost. Whereas if we can just give him one more year, when there is some hope headed into next year that we could be pretty good. So keep him one more year. And he has agreed to reduce his salary by $1 million and reduce the buyout by $7.5 million for next year. So that's quite a bit of money saved for giving one more roll of the dice with Frost. If it works out, great. Things are looking up. If it doesn't, get rid of him. We save some money and we move on.
That's the saving grace as far as the firing the 4 offensive assistants and the restructure deal. That is kind of getting me at least acceptance of this. Like, I could not have just gone with the status quo, like no firing of assistant coaches, nothing changed as far as money. Like, to me, that would have just been, come on now, what are we doing? We're just doing what's in. But okay, at least they're recognizing an issue, a problem, addressing it. I can live with it, but I still probably wouldn't have chosen this if it was up to me.
And this is maybe a little far-fetched, but it's something to think about. With this year, with so many of the marquee openings, USC, LSU, TCU, potentially other jobs if coaches kind of bolt for, other positions, they might not get a top target and kind of left with an underwhelming hire that even the fan base can't get behind. So there's that element too that you have to maybe think about.
Right. Yeah, it could be a tough offseason. A lot of competitive jobs out there. So, all right, let us know if you're a Nebraska fan or just a general fan of college football. Let us know whether you think it was the right decision to keep the coach that might go 3-9. I know it sounds crazy to say, but appreciate you watching this episode. Subscribe if you like college football. We've got content every week all year round, and you should subscribe to our podcast. We've got links to that in the description below. We broke down all the big games for Week 11 this week, so check that out. We'll talk to you next week.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.